Are you bored living a mediocre life? We were too, and we know how to change that. Each week, we'll leave our comfort zones to explore a new topic, then step onto our soapboxes, a safe space to sound off on our latest adventure. Come explore with us. All opinions are welcome. This is a mindset. This is a lifestyle. This is Siren Soapbox.
Hello and welcome, fellow explorers. Thank you for diving in. Our mission is to get you and ourselves out of our comfort zone to explore. We are so grateful for our experts and guests who give their time and help us along the path of exploration. Each guest starts the episode with us as an expert or a challenger and ends the episode as a friend. Recently, we learned that the world has lost one of our experts and one of our friends, Laura Anderson. She helped us all understand our dreams through her interpretations on episode 21 of Siren Soapbox. We are all shocked and saddened to learn that she recently passed and entered into eternal rest. We extend our condolences to her friends and family. She was an amazing person and artist, and we dedicate this episode to her. We're going to have a moment of silence in her honor before beginning. And now, on to today's episode. On October 3rd, the Sirens received a challenge. It reads, "Dear Sirens, ATCs, artist trading cards, are handmade trading cards, 2.5 by 3.5 inches, that you trade with other artists. I don't know about you guys, but I don't generally like sharing my artwork because I'm worried about what other people are looking at and judging it. But I've really gotten into ATCs. There's even a website, atcsforall.com. This is where you can trade with other artists from all over. It brought me out of my comfort zone and was a lot of fun. I just thought I'd let you know about it if you haven't already heard. May the force be with you, Aranza Reyes Lawson." According to StrathmoreArtist.com, artist trading cards are miniature pieces of art that are traded around the world. Artists create, trade, and collect at organized swap events, either in person or online. The only rule for ATCs is the size, which Aranza already told us, 2.5 by 3.5. In 1997, M. Vincent Sturinen, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, he's a Swiss artist. He created 1,200 cards by hand as part of an exhibit. On the last day, he invited others to create their own cards and trade with him during the closing reception. The movement took off, and today there are ATC swaps in almost every major city around the world. There's also many online swaps. So, how did the Sirens do? If at any time the conversation gets too intense, the safe word is
Mango.
First up on her soapbox is Murph.
Artist trading cards is something I had never heard of before we received this challenge. So I started out by just mindlessly doodling on some cards, 2.5 by 3.5, while I was editing podcasts, so not really paying much attention to it. The website that we were introduced to was difficult for me to navigate. And so I decided to look on Facebook. Luckily, there are a ton of swap groups on Facebook to choose from. And after I joined a few of those groups and saw some of those cards these people were making, I knew I was going to have to up my game. So then I put some more thought into my doodles. I drew a gnome using some markers. I put these ATC cards up on the Facebook groups, and only one of them was wanted in a trade. I had a hard time with artist trading cards. I felt like my work was being judged and snubbed, and it really wasn't a great feeling, to be honest. This one kind of hit my self-esteem. But not only were people not wanting my cards, but I had a really hard time asking people for their cards because I was worried they wouldn't like my stuff. Until I saw a mermaid wearing a Santa hat and holding a glass of wine. I did ask that artist if we could trade, and she said yes. So I sent off a little gnome that I had painted and added some Christmas lights too. I'm still waiting for my mermaid to arrive, but this all just happened last week. So I did also participate in a blind trade. This way of trading felt super low pressure because you don't get to see the art you're trading ahead of time. I received 3 really cool cards from one person. They came in a makeshift card holder that was held together with washi tape that read, "Be happy," over and over again. And that made me smile. Sarah, how did you like artist trading cards?
Well, excuse me, I have to admit to not having looked forward to this project at all, really. I did put it off as long as I could. I mean, I bought the cards and the sleeves. I signed up on the website and started following and liking posts on the Artist Trading Cards Facebook page almost immediately. However, I put off the actual work, the artist stuff. Actually starting to create took some serious self-talk and some supportive motivation from my fellow Sirens. With no clear plan in mind, I headed out to Hobby Lobby. A quick trip to Hobby Lobby, on Black Friday, no less, double That alone was a totally uncomfortable experience, people everywhere. So yes, out of my comfort zone. I found some pretty cool things eventually though. It was kind of fun scouring the art aisles and coming up with ideas. Another major mistake made, besides hitting up Hobby Lobby on Black Friday, was picking up a box of glitter. I mean, I just picked it up. I didn't open it or buy it, but I still had glitter on my kitchen table later that day. But anyway, I really loved my first find, which was color changing paint. And as I looked at all the options available to me, my idea kind of grew into a real plan. And I was pretty proud of myself for deciding what I wanted to create. However, I was using materials I wasn't very familiar with and had no idea how they would act and interact. But I did end up having a ton of fun making a mess experimenting. It did take me back to the days of doing school projects with the kids. So moving on to what I ended up creating. Well, I'm not the best at making things look like they really are. Clearly, I didn't do enough work on that while doing the artist way. So I started out with some designs, or let's call them original creations and leave it at that. I did end up liking what I created, so that was fun. By far, however, the most uncomfortable part of this experience was posting pictures of my cards on the Artist Trading Cards Facebook page. It was tough to put my creations out there for comments and likes. It left me feeling pretty vulnerable. Suffice to say, I still have my cards, and I know some lucky Sirens who just may be getting some original Siren Sarah artwork for Christmas. With that, on to Jess.
Thanks, Sarah. So I almost mangnode out of this challenge. I'm not artistic in this medium. I don't enjoy painting or drawing, so this challenge was super hard for me. I can do well enough at wine and painting events because they have step-by-step instructions. Also, there's wine. I don't have to share my art with anybody besides the people that I'm there with, who are always friends. I decided to give it a shot though, and I ordered some cards. While waiting for my cards to arrive, I browsed the groups on Facebook for ideas and to figure out how to do the swaps. This was a bad idea because it caused a serious blow to my confidence seeing all the talent out there. I kept brainstorming and waiting for my cards. About 2 weeks after my cards were supposed to arrive, I gave up and created cards out of a hot cocoa box. I tried out an idea with some colored pencils. I hated the way it came out. I tried again with some paint pens that I thought would come out a little better, but I still wasn't happy with my creation. 6 cards and more unhappiness later, I signed up for a blind swap. This made me feel a little better because I didn't have to wait for someone to ask for my cards or like them. Then I got paired with LC, someone I'm friends with who I know won't judge my cards, but I still wanted her to get somebody with more skill so she could have some prettier cards for her swap. Plus, I know if anything I get from her is going to be amazing. So, long story short, this was not the challenge for me. I'm glad I did it, but I will not be making any more cards. I hope everyone else had a lot of enjoyment out of it and got some beautiful cards out of your swaps. With that, on to LC.
Thank you. I had never heard of artist trading cards before, so I was really excited when we got this challenge because I love creating art. I will say it was a little bit daunting at first, having 20 mini blank canvases staring at me, but once I got started, I couldn't stop. My medium of choice is watercolors, and I use this as an opportunity to try some techniques that I've been putting off for quite a while. ATCs are less intimidating than a 9-inch by 12-inch piece of paper. I tried the website ATCs for All as suggested by our challenger. I found the format to be a little bit complex to use. I did meet a really nice guy by the name of Alan, or Pancake Machine, and he was incredibly helpful for guiding me in what to do and how to trade. For the rest of my trades, I did it on a group that Mur had suggested. This was much easier for me to use since it's one less thing to log into. I tried to trade for cards that reminded me of the podcast. I had one day that I just had to share with the other Sirens because the synchronicities were crazy. I had 3 cards come in. The first one I opened, it was in a journal sheet and it said something about block creatives. And I opened it and it had a crown, which is what I had traded for. It reminded me of the Queens. And there was also 5 bonus cards in there. One of them said The Artist Way Morning Pages. And I was like, we did that. That was from Allison in Massachusetts. Then I opened a card from Tammy in Illinois. Hers was a multicolored mermaid tail that reminded me of the podcast. We had messaged each other and she told me that the picture on her greeting card that the ATC was in was taken from her drone. And I was like, I'm a drone pilot. So we chatted about that. And then the next one, I didn't tell the Sirens about because I figure they're probably sick of all the synchronicities. That was from Arlene, and she had a card with a bird and real leaves on it. And I got that one because of Drin, the bird lady. A few days later, Arlene had messaged me and she kept talking about this watercolor artist I should check out. And this artist was literally the artist that I had signed up for to take a winter class online with. So I thought that was pretty crazy. I had so many conversations with wonderful, wonderful people from all over the globe, like Stuart in the UK. I am so thankful for our challenger to introducing us to the artist trading cards. Tell us about your ATCs, TC. Say that 5 times fast.
I'll tell you one thing for certain. I need more time for this challenge, which basically means I'm going to keep creating and trading, which is interesting because originally I wasn't into this challenge, not because I didn't want to create. I love creating, but I try not to collect. I'm a recovering collection addict. My whole family has collections of collections, and I have in the past as well. I enjoy the freedom from things more than I enjoy collecting them. So once I came up with a solution for that, I plan to frame a perfect square of trading cards, maybe 3 by 3. I was able to loosen up and enjoy. Well, sort of. In all honesty, I was a little nervous about the idea of being able to create something that other people might want. So I reminded myself that the process of creating is enough. It is enough to create something that I like the idea of, or that I like to look at. So I decided to send a little of the Caribbean to everyone. I collected seawater, sand, and small shells or shell fragments from a beach on my way home. I used the seawater to mix with paint for watercolor seascapes. Then I glued sand onto my painted beach and even shells on one of the cards. I had so much fun creating them. And for me, the small size was perfect. I like little things. My trades so far. I posted 3 sea scenes on one of the Facebook sites. I had a couple of offers, but only accepted one. That was a little weird, but while I could appreciate the art, I didn't want it on my wall. The one I did trade is a picture of a woman in a bathing suit sitting on a cocktail glass holding an umbrella. Above her are the words, "Create your own world." I can't wait to get it. Then I did a blind trade where you send in 3 cards and get 3 in return. The idea made me a little nervous, which is exactly why I did it. I'm finishing a series of Sagittarius cards that I'll hopefully have ready to share with people this week. I want to post them while it's still Sagittarius season. I think getting the cards in the mail will be the best part. Today, I got my first card in the mail from Siren LC. One of the things we all love about Siren Soapbox is that through exploring, we get to know ourselves and each other better, but we also get to know other people from around the world. The Sirens have been painting and hiding Siren Soapbox rocks for months. Check out our website, sirensoapbox.com, and click on Siren Soapbox Rocks to learn more. Facebook page coming soon. It is through one of these rocks that we met a fellow explorer. She found a rock and reached out to let us know. Then she took it a step further and introduced us to another art form and challenged us to explore artist trading cards. Aranza Reyes Lawson stepped outside of her comfort zone to share her passion for ATCs and challenge the Sirens to do the same. Aranza explained to us that she suffers from depression and anxiety, so she likes to do things to distract herself. And this is how she became involved in artist trading cards. She explained, when I am doing art and crafts, it improves my mental and emotional state, not only in the moment, but also in the long term. Not to mention, I love to collect. And collect she does. Her collections include ATCs, path tags, Pokemon cards, and elongated coins. Please join me in welcoming our challenger, fellow explorer, and artist for this episode of Siren Soapbox, Aranza Reyes Lawson.
Yay!
Hello.
Welcome to the show,
Hi.
Aranza.
So I've been doing artist trading cards for years, but I really just started trading them because most of the sites where you can trade them on, you have to be 18 at least. And since I just turned 18, I can finally start trading them with a bunch of people.
Nice.
I actually just got some cards in the mail yesterday, which is weird because it was Sunday, but they hadn't delivered mail all week, so I guess they were making up for it. But this was from a blind swap. It was the theme was poetry and prose, like found poetry and prose. So this one says, emerge to reckon with, its vision is only just beginning. So that's one of the found poetry, and then it has like a drawing of a butterfly and a pepper.
Very cool.
And so yeah, I've been making them since I was 12, but I can just finally trade them. I'm not very good. So I'm amazed anyone wants to trade with me. I mostly do collages and found poetry and prose type thing. So that trade was perfect for me. Because, it's easy. It's easier than drawing. I can't draw at all.
Plus, it's easier to create something that you're passionate about. And it sounds like, is poetry something that you're passionate about? Or did you just pick that because you could like cut and paste
I picked it because I could find words. I'm not good at articulating things with my own words. So most of my brain is movie quotes and book quotes. Is filled with that because that's the best way I can articulate what I'm actually feeling is through other people's words. Which is common with people who have the kind of disorders that I have.
Interesting.
So
what was the first card? Are those the first cards that you've received, or what was the very first card
No,
you ever received?
The first card I received, it was actually a group on Ravelry. But so there was a group for artist trading cards. I got some cards. The theme was mandalas and pirates.
Oh, cool.
So I got different cards. This is my binder of cards. Doesn't have a lot in it right now, but I'm still collecting. And my favorite card though, I did get on ATCs for All. It's this coder. Her handle is Code Bunny on the site, and she jury rigged she made a pen plotter out of, I don't understand it because I'm not good with computers really, but she wrote a code and then connected it to colors, different numbers to colors, and then used a pen and then made a pen plotter, and it made dots and it was a contoured Mandelbrot, and it has a fetus in it, so it's contoured like a womb, the shape of a womb. And it has a fetus in it, and it's called Mandelbabe. So that one was a trade, like an international trade. It was and I saw her card and I loved it, so I asked her to trade with me and she agreed.
Nice.
So
So I find that intimidating. I asked for the Mermaid Santa hat card. That's the only card I've asked for. And I wanted to ask for a lot, but I don't feel confident enough to do it.
yeah, me neither. But I figured, if she says no, she says no. And then if she doesn't
True.
say no, then I can get that really cool card.
That's true. The worst thing that's going to happen is someone's going to say no thanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
And I
the
love
an-
that philosophy.
The answer is always no if you don't ask.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's true.
So, I really loved it though to be able to do that because usually I just do the blind swaps.
Well,
And
I
then-
would like,
Yeah.
I'd like to argue with you because you sent us a sample of your cards when you first sent in the challenge, and I thought your work was amazing.
Oh, thank you. But-
Every single one of
Yeah.
us are artists, and we just have to embrace that. Sarah, look at you, and Jess, you're the first one that I wrote about because I read your soapbox first this morning.
I just said not in that medium. I enjoy knitting.
Oh yeah,
And-
knitting's fun.
You could have
I-
knit on the card.
Yeah.
You could
People
do
do that.
whatever you want.
What if you
People
just
do that a lot,
knit-
like they're textile cards and you just put a backing on it. But you can like knit a swatch or crochet a swatch. I like crochet better than knit personally. But and then or you could weave something and stick it on a card.
Can you knit like a spider web and draw a spider on there, or knit
I
like a
can't-
teeny tiny sweater and draw a person and put the sweater on? Or
I
dogs with
can't do
sweaters.
designs like the intarsia is what you're thinking of, like ugly Christmas sweaters or like intarsia, and I can't do that. But like I enjoy knitting and I enjoy other art forms. I just can't draw or paint, and I don't enjoy it unless there's
You
wine involved
You could
and step-by-step
definitely
instructions.
you could definitely do like a 2.5 by 3.5 cross stitch though, right? Don't you do that?
Oh no, I don't cross stitch.
No,
Oh, I thought you did.
That's it.
I've
That's Annie.
I know. I
I've
thought you did it
definitely
with her.
experimented with cross stitching and embroidering some cards.
That's a good
And I
idea.
just I'm not very good at it, but I just take the cards and I stitch them up. I'm okay at embroidery and cross stitch, but I'm not great at it.
I used to do a
But
lot
I-
of cross stitching, because cross stitching, they give you a pattern. They tell you exactly where to stick that needle and exactly what color thread needs to be on that needle. I can do that. I
Sarah
can follow
can stick.
directions.
You can stick needles where they need to go.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I do a lot of that.
Well, a lot of the ones I received were like, it was almost like scrapbooking where they took different pieces of paper and they stuck it together. Anybody can do that.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, but you have to have a
Yeah.
picture in mind, and you have to have some sort of creativity. I mean, I could do that, but it would look like like one of my cats threw up or something, you know.
I kind of just stick stuff in places and hope something turns out. And that's the ones I trade that turn out. They don't all turn out,
Yeah.
but at least some of them will. It's like I like to take I have some sticker books that have some even the background of the sticker, the ones that I don't know how to say it, but like they're cut, and then the back of it, like the part that doesn't have this actual sticker, but it's still sticky on the back.
Mhm.
And I take that and I cut it in pieces because the different patterns of the
sticker shapes.
sticker, yes, the sticker shapes, thank you. I was never gonna get that actually. So, I'll be mumbling the whole time. But the sticker shapes, they make really cool patterns, so I just stick them and layer them on top of each other on a card, and then sometimes really cool shapes come out, and I can work with that, like that negative space. And like once it turned into a bird,
Oh,
the
that's
white
cool.
part, the start
That's
part that was
cool.
still white, it was shaped like a bird. So then I took letters from my sticker book and put fly.
That's
And
cool.
that one I actually liked.
Part of this process is just about like letting go and letting the creativity flow out of you and just seeing what develops.
playing with your artist child. Is that what you're saying?
Your
That's
inner
right.
artist child. Yeah.
Feel like I'm quoting the artist way, but yeah.
That's what I did.
I will say that I personally love to create. I love to draw and I love to paint. And so that the making of the cards was super easy for me. It was the trying to trade them part that was hard.
Yeah.
It's like I've had these 4 beautiful trees. It's the same tree for all seasons,
Love it.
and nobody has wanted them. What the hell? Who wouldn't want those trees?
I
You know
love
what's-
your trees, Mer.
I love your trees.
Thank you.
You know what's funny is that so many of you said that you thought it was less intimidating to do the blind swap, but that's more intimidating to me. Because if I put my stuff out there and somebody says, hey, I want that, then no one's going to be disappointed. They chose it, they want it, they know what it is, it's all out there. But if I do a blind swap and whomever gets it doesn't like it, then
Too bad.
they could be disappointed in what I have. And I don't like that feeling. I don't.
Yeah, but I guess the feeling that I have about that, because I didn't do a blind swap just because I was too chicken. But a blind swap is too bad, so sad. You give it to them, you won't even know if they didn't like it. So there you go.
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
guess-
I just like to be out there. I like everything out in the open. I like.
Lots of times the people organizing the swap effort for effort.
Mhm.
So, you or they'll swap mediums for mediums. So they'll try to swap things that are comparable in effort. So lots of times, so at least most of the ones on ATCs for All say that they swap them like that.
That makes
So
sense.
depending on your skill level, you might get like, the same kind of work.
Right. That makes sense.
And
Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of people that were posting like hand-drawn cards, they would say, I want hand-drawn cards. Like I
Mhm.
want,
Mhm.
so there were people that were specific about that. My feeling though about the blind swap, Tracy, is that similar to Sarah's, for me, it felt like a surprise, and I love surprises. And if I get a card, like I've only gotten my blind swap from one person, but I really love the cards. I don't know if I would have asked to trade with her if I had just seen them, but getting them as a surprise in the mail made me happy.
Yeah, I feel that way about it too. I'm excited to see what 3 I get. I'm excited for that surprise, but I don't know. I like it all out there in the open. So I did the blind swap simply because I was uncomfortable with it.
I like the blind swaps because of the surprise mostly. And also sometimes it makes me feel good because I know that they're swapping effort for effort. And I usually get cards that I think are way better than the cards I sent in. So I'm like, wow, they must have appreciated my cards if I got this grade of cards.
Nice.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, let me ask you that with artist trading card or ATCforall.com, there is I'm going to forget the name of it. There's like a rating system afterwards.
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
Usually you just like, unless the person is a jerk, then they usually just rate whether they got the card more and
Mhm.
if you hosted the swap well. But you're not really, because people, you're not supposed to judge the quality of the other person's work in your rating. It's more like, were they prompt in delivering it, like sending it, and were they a good host? Did they do well hosting the swap, or did they do well trading with you?
That's
I
what
like
you did
that.
for.
That's good to know. That's
Yeah.
a lot nicer than the idea of them actually judging your creativity, your artwork.
No.
Because I think
Yeah,
we're judging
Usually
like
they
the
don't
sound
do
of
that.
that.
Sometimes you'll get a person who's just not very nice, but I haven't so far. I mean, I'm sure other people have, but so
I mean, if
far.
we're talking
I haven't.
effort and heartache that went into making something, if I did a blind swap, I don't know what I would get, because there was a lot of effort and heartache that went into these tiny little things.
Mhm.
Do you trade on Facebook at all? Because we did a lot of ours on Facebook, and it was not based on effort or anything like that. It was just, do you want to do it? And then they randomly picked. And somehow Jess and I ended up as partners.
So I haven't traded on Facebook yet, but that's because I had a hard time filtering through all the different groups for trading. And on ATCs for All, it's just one thing, and you can go on the forum. They have a list of themes for blind swaps. And then you can go to the gallery, and they have cards that are for open trade. So it was a lot easier for me, but I'm gonna try to start on Facebook now that I know some good groups to do it on. But so far I've only done it on ATCs for All is my platform. But it is kind of difficult to manage. However, I have been visiting that site for a long time, because I was like, when I'm 18, I'm gonna join that site. So I better figure it out now.
Yeah, I think we had a really hard time navigating it, but I could see, like, if we found that site 6 years ago,
Mhm.
it might be a totally different ball game.
Yeah, so I couldn't trade on it back then, but I could look on it as a guest.
Yeah, you make
And
it sound super easy. You're like, they have these forums and you just pick a swap or you go to the gallery. And we were like, what is this?
We were messaging each other like, do you get it? Because I don't get it.
I can't
It
figure
was
it out.
almost a
you could
blast
have
from the
messaged me. I
past.
would have told you what was going on,
That's what we should have done.
because I've been looking at this site for like 6 years. So
Yeah, that's what we should have done. But, you know.
We just went to the Facebook.
What is the longest that you've spent creating a card?
I usually create them within like 10 minutes, but it takes me a while to figure out what I want to do sometimes. So I could spend like days or hours figuring out exactly what I want to do. But then once I start doing it, it just happens.
I'm curious how everyone would answer that question.
Oh, I'm going to tell you.
Like average and longest.
The longest was the trees, the set of 4 trees. And I had so many different colors, and I was using acrylic paints that, I had to like let it dry in between and things like that. I did these over the course of an entire evening. So it was several hours for those. That was probably the longest it took. I mean, this one, but you can't really
The
see.
circles,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
mermaid scales. Yeah.
Yeah. That one took me like 10 minutes.
Mhm.
It looks cool though.
Some of
Mhm.
these, oh, this one's fun. I did this one with colored pencils, but you're not gonna be able to see it very well. It's hard.
I think we can't see. Does it have
I
the
like that
sleeve
one.
on it?
No,
I think
it's
I
just
saw
like
that.
different wildflowers.
Yeah, I can see it.
Anyway, some of them only took me a few minutes, and some, like the trees, were hours.
I'll see.
Mine took weeks of thinking and thinking and thinking about doing it, and then
But
finally
I mean,
going
once
out
you
and getting some
started,
stuff.
once you started, how?
It was an afternoon. I got home from work and had stopped on my way home from work, and then messed with it. So it was an afternoon, probably about 3 hours. A lot of that time was spent like this.
Just staring.
Mhm.
For people who aren't watching but listening, that's what
Yeah.
just happened.
Go to our YouTube to watch her expression.
That's right.
'Cause it was good.
A few years ago, I made some with nail polish on
Oh,
kind
fun.
of, they were kind of it was they had lines was the design of the paper, but parts of the lines were raised, and that part had like a slippery surface, and parts of the card was lower, so it had like a more rough papery surface. So I decided to use nail polish on that, and it actually turned out pretty cool.
Nice.
Which is weird because I can't paint. So I made a few with nail polish. I made like it turned out with a cool texture. I
Cool.
don't remember where I put them though.
That's really neat. The most unique one I got was a 3D one, and he did it with a red ink pen and a blue ink pen. It was like a house, and then
The
it came
cabin
with.
one
Did you
was
see
like
that?
a cabin.
It was
Yeah,
like a cabin.
I kinda cyber stalked you guys. No, not really. I went onto the forums the groups that you were on, and I looked up your names and then to see what you guys had posted in that group to prepare.
Wow,
I'll
that's
have to
pretty
send it-
cool.
I'll send it to GC for the blog because it came with like the 3D glasses, and it was so
Shut
unique.
up. That is
That's
so
really neat.
fun.
Really cool. And I forget his
So-
name, but we'll shout him out on the blog.
I don't remember if he had posted a picture of it or you had, but it had like the 3D glasses and the card, and it was and it said that he had traded with you.
Yeah, he posted it first, and I think I was the first to respond. And
Elsie
then
was
he didn't like.
"Yes, please."
I don't think he liked my selection. He's just like, whatever, just send me something.
Honey, that's so crazy because when I look at your paintings, Elsie, I'm like, oh my God, why is she not like getting paid to be an artist? Which I guess you are. I mean, that's what you do. You sell your art for a living. But that's one of the
I've
things you
started.
do.
Yeah.
But
My
your
goal is to be a
Your
watercolor artist.
watercolors are amazing. You are a watercolor artist.
Well, thank you.
Well,
Okay.
if you like the size of artist trading cards for doing that kind of thing, and you want to sell them, there's another thing called ACEOs, which is the same thing as artist trading cards, except they're for sale instead of for trade.
Oh, interesting.
Writing that down.
I noticed a lot of the sirens picking up their pen and quickly writing that down. Jess and I were just sitting like this. Oh, interesting.
But I saw I looked up ACEOs. I think it stands for Artist Cards Editions and Originals.
Okay.
So you can like do prints of them, or you can do the actual watercolor, whatever medium you're using on the card. And then you can sell them on places like Etsy or at art shows or whatever.
That's very cool. Did anybody notice, or I guess have this experience where one, was it hard for you to keep track of who you were sending cards to? And two, did people send you pictures of their envelope before they put it in the mailbox?
Yes, no, and yes. It was not difficult for me to keep track of who I traded with because I've only traded with two people. One was a 1-for-1 trade, and the other one was the 3 cards for the blind trade. But the first person I traded with, I told her it was my first trade, and she spent a lot of time just going through and explaining to me all of the things that people do to make it run smoothly. And she said, some people will send a picture of the letter in the mail so that you can see the address and verify it and have faith that it's actually happening. And so I did that for all the ones I sent. I sent a picture of it in the mail. Actually, I mailed it at work, and it's a bin. It says outgoing USPS, United States, USPS mail. That sign is on the box, and I propped the envelope up with the postage on it and took a picture and sent it to them every time.
Yeah, I did not do that.
Nope.
And I
With
did not
luck-
have trouble keeping track because I traded with 3 people.
I
I
traded
don't
with
have
two.
I don't have trouble keeping track because I always keep the messages, and I just look through the messages and because I do it on HECs for all, so I just keep the messages in there, and I can see who I've been trading with, and I like to send a picture of the envelope because like as proof that I'm sending it, because sometimes like it's never happened to me, but I know with things it's often a good thing to do on any kind of trade through the mail, to send a picture of the envelope that you're sending it in. So you'll see that with like path tags too,
Yeah.
where you're sending them through the mail. You send an envelope, you send a picture of the envelope.
LC needs to know what path tags are now.
Yes,
Would
I
you like
do.
to explain that, Aranza?
So path tags, they're these little round tags with a hole in them. And people often use them as like geocaching custom swag. And they're round and they're made of metal and they have it filled with enamel. And people have them made. I just had my first one made, but it hasn't come yet because it's still in production. But you can use them for other things too. It's not just a geocaching thing. But what it is you just collect them or you can display them. There are these things that you can hang on your wall that has magnets in them and they're shaped for the path tag to go in and stick to that. And then what you do is you just trade them, and you can trade them. You can put them in geocaches. You can give them to people. You can put them online. You can sell them, but mostly people trade them. And on pathtags.com is one way to trade them, or at geocaching events. Lots of times people trade them there. And I got one that's really cool. It says it's a picture of Eeyore, and Eeyore is like my spirit animal because and my other spirit animal is a robot called Marvin, who's manically depressed, from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes. 42.
Anyway, yeah, I love Marvin. Anyway, it's Eeyore, and it says not black, not white, just the blues.
Aw.
I thought that one was so cute, and it
So-
fits me perfectly.
I feel like you should be able to retrade cards. Like when I was a kid and I collected stickers, it was always to go to like trade and then trade up a little and trade up a little. And I feel like you should be able to retrade. I didn't make this card. Siren LC did, but I'll trade it for that card. Has anyone ever done that?
I haven't, but it depends on if the people mind if you trade them or not. I feel like you should be able to do whatever you want with them once you get them, but
Right.
not everyone feels that way. But on ATCs for All, there's actually a list of people who mind or don't mind their cards retraded. So, like there's this one list on the forum and people are like, and the question is, do you mind your cards being retraded? And the people say no, or yes, or not usually, but if it's this specific card and you don't want it anymore, I'd like it back. Or sometimes they'll put, I don't mind at all, but if you could tell me who you're retrading it to, so I know who it's going to, then I'd appreciate that.
I
See,
wonder why.
I would answer that question with, I don't care. Once it's in your possession, do whatever you want with it.
I know.
Yeah,
why
that
would
was
you
my
care?
answer.
Do they write that on the back of the card? Because there's no way I'd ever be able to keep that straight.
No, they don't write it on the back of the card. What they do is you just go to the list, and if you have a card from that person, you have their names on the back of the card, and it's in alphabetical order. It's in alphabetical order. So you just go to the letter and then you search for their username, and then you're like, okay, this person doesn't mind it being retraded.
So
That's
step one
all
is that you
very-
know how to use that website.
It's all very organized. I can't imagine, like, I'm going to give this card to you, but you must keep it for eternity.
Yeah. I
That's
don't like that,
bizarre.
but it's one of the things about it. So I don't really retrade them. Usually I just trade for cards I want anyway. But
Say,
also,
are you okay with me retrading this, or can I include this in my minimalist game? You can maybe put that on there.
See, my thought kind of as an artist was maybe then that person is using my art to trade for something that I could have gotten. Now I can't get it because this other person's trading my art. Like I don't know. It seems kind
that's
of
one of the
selfish.
reasons that it's considered polite not to trade other people's cards. is because of that. And also, I don't remember the also. But there's also some groups that say you're allowed to trade. Like one of the groups that you had on the Facebook groups, in its rules, it says any cards you get through trades or you trade here, you are allowed to be retraded.
See, I'd like to do a blind swap where the rule is that you have to send me 3 cards that you did not create that were traded to you and really mix it up.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess I feel like it would be immoral if you were trying to pass it off as your own artwork. But if you're,
No, I don't mean that. I
no,
just
no,
mean
no, I
ret-
know. I just
Yeah, I
mean
just
in
mean retrading it.
general.
Like
Yeah.
I wrote my name on the back of my card, so
I
don't
did
know.
all except the first one I sent out. I had no idea what I was doing. I just popped a card in the mail, like, see ya, good luck. And
Yeah.
it occurred to me that I didn't like send her any extra goodies. I didn't like thank her for the trade. I didn't put my name on the back of the card. So I ended up sending her another one. And she thinks,
Oh,
That's what was intimidating to me, is all the extra goodies. People would post, I just got this in the mail, and look, it came with 3 extra cards and all these crafts and a car. I'm like,
in a car.
you got a car?
Not required to put any goodies, and it's not even part of the etiquette that you should. It's just something people do to be like extra nice.
Yeah.
I'm not
You
extra
don't.
nice.
Well,
But I
Yes, you
did.
are.
I put stickers in mine. So I did put extra goodies in mine. But I don't know. At first I was like, oh, that was my first hesitation, is I don't have a bunch of extra stuff to put in here.
So this is the back of one of my cards. I always put the date, I sign it, put my name in print. Then I put my artist trading cards for all username, which is Elam Garrick 42, because I'm a big DS9 fan. And then I put my Instagram name, which is also Elam Garrick 42. Plus I'm a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan. So it's Star Trek and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy in my name. And then I put the name of the card if my card in this instance does have a name, but they don't all have
Did
a name.
anybody else name their cards?
No, but I
didn't paint that, by the way. Someone sent me a scrap, like these scraps of paper, and I used it, and they had like painted all over it.
Oh,
But you
cool.
put
From
it
a PAX
together, right?
project. Yeah, I just collaged it.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I didn't name mine at all because
I didn't either.
I didn't either.
I did over 30. I was a bit obsessive with it.
I probably made that many,
Really?
but they're not all good. Some of them are literally just doodles. Like, look at this ugly ass octopus.
Oh, he's cute.
He's
purple.
cute.
He's elongated. He's
Here's the
weird.
back of this is the back of mine. Hold on. There. Wait.
Nope,
Nope.
nope, nope.
Nope.
Yep,
Can't see
nope.
it.
Nope. Still no. No.
Oh, yeah,
There,
I
I
almost
see
almost.
St.
There we go.
Croix, sirensoapbox.com. Yeah, I
See
put my
St. Croix?
name and I put
Yeah, so
sirensoapbox.com.
Mine
That's
says
it.
mine says this is watercolor using water from the Caribbean Sea and sand from the beach. Sent with love from St. Croix USVI Tracy. Sirensoapbox.com. That's what mine say.
All
I
of
like
mine
that.
say Siren Myrrh, sirensoapbox.com, ATC episode to air 12/10/21.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
good idea.
I should have
That
done
is
that.
good.
That's
I
what put.
usually do but if I draw, I usually do like a mandala type,
Yeah, I
Oh,
love
that's
making
nice.
mandalas.
I like that.
That's beautiful.
and I
Mhm.
just do that kind of thing when I draw. But I like collages more.
That's really
Murr
pretty.
is very good at the mandalas.
That's
Mhm.
my that's where I find peace, is making
Sarah!
mandalas. I love your
Look at how
cards, Sarah.
shiny. I love it.
Well, here, let me take it out of the sleeve.
I need you to send me the brand of that color changing paint because I think I need some.
You
Yeah,
see the
same.
color change?
That's cool.
I
What
don't
is
know
the
if you can
brand?
see.
Yeah, it's
Is it
turning from like
Artista?
purple to copper, right?
Yeah.
We'll put it in our store.
It's iridescent.
Oh
If you
yeah,
go to
put it in the store and then
Go
let
to
me know.
sirensoapbox.com and it'll be in the store.
I'll take
So-
a picture of it and send it.
How many people were outside their comfort zone on this? in
Me.
some way at all. Yeah.
Me.
I was.
Every single one of us. Yeah. At some way, some level, we're outside our comfort zone. Did
So thank you
anybody?
for that, Aranza.
Yes.
What?
I said thank you for that.
Yeah, that is our goal, to get outside our comfort zone for every challenge. So
Yeah.
check, we did that.
I really enjoyed it.
How many people, did anybody have any lessons or any takeaways from doing this challenge?
My takeaway was that the creating the art was enough. So I
like
didn't
that.
stress over whether or not somebody asked for it or wanted it or liked it. Creating the art was enough, and the trading was the bonus.
I think my two takeaways, number one, stay away from glitter. Number two, it's not necessarily about being able to draw an art. I think some of the things that we've talked about here tonight have shown that there's a lot more to art besides being able to draw. So that was really good. Thanks.
My takeaway is if you don't ask, the answer's always no.
Yes.
I just kept trying to tell myself what my nieces one time were fighting, and Leona, who's always good for the one-liners, said, "Don't tell me how to art, Mara." So I just kept telling myself that, like don't tell me how to art.
I like it.
Elsie?
Mine are not as profound as your guys' is. I finally got to experience the fact that oils from your hands will actually repel watercolor. I never experienced that on a large canvas, but on a tiny 2x3 or 2.5 by 3.5, you can experience that a little bit more. So not as profound as everybody else, but I will say everybody in some way is an artist. You just have to find your medium.
Aranza, what's been your favorite thing that you've learned from doing artist trading cards?
I like that it's not as much about the art. It's also about the art some, but it's a lot about meeting different people and, seeing how they see things.
I like that. Seeing the world through
Right.
other people's eyes. Well, I think it's time to leave our listeners with a challenge. And that, my friends, is for you to make your own artist trading cards to swap. And if you are already making artist trading cards, then we challenge you to make some cards using a brand new medium. Since I typically use acrylic paints or markers, I'm going to try making some mixed medium collage artist trading cards. I am not done with the artist trading cards. I have 50 blank cards that need to be filled. So it's still happening. Aranza, thank you so much for joining us this week. And thank you for sending this challenge to us.
Yes.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
And Sirens, I love chatting with you about this, and I love seeing all of your artwork. You guys are all very talented people, and I'm lucky to know you. And thank you, fellow explorer, for listening to this episode. Go ahead and click that subscribe button wherever you're listening to this podcast. Don't forget that you can watch this episode on YouTube now. And you can find the link to this video. You can find the Siren Soapbox blog, and you can learn about what we're up to next, all on our website at sirensoapbox.com. Until next time, dive in, stay curious, and be happy. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Siren Soapbox, and a special thank you to C Strings for providing our music. Snag their latest EP from iTunes today. Follow the Sirens on all the social medias, and don't forget to tell your friends about us. Like and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. We'll catch you next time on another episode of Siren Soapbox.